Good day, this is Ray. Today is Saturday, January 25th, 2025, and for me, another day of learning and growing. Hope that you, your family, friends, and loved ones are doing well and staying safe. It is 6:40 a.m. I have breakfast and do my dishes. At the end of each month, since I've started sharing this journey, I like to give an update of my progress towards paying off a little bit over $115,000 worth of consumer or non-mortgage debt. But before I do that, I like to sort of give you an idea of what the journey's been like up to this point, and I call this the big picture. You can skip over it if you've already seen it, and I'm not going to take too much time on it. But in May of 2019, I was diagnosed with lupus. I was in and out of the hospital 6 times in less than a 2-year period. Ended up meeting my out-of-pocket maximum, which means I had to come out of pocket roughly $4,600 a year. And I was already had a lot of debt at that point, so I just added on top of more debt. June of 2020 is when I identified that I had $115,000 worth of non-mortgage debt, and I said, enough is enough. Let me go ahead and figure out how to tackle this, and just started aggressively paying off as much as I could. May of 2021 is when I learned how to budget, when I actually knew how to take every dollar I've made and give it a job. At that time I was living with my parents. It was during the middle of the pandemic. We were on lockdown, and it's a little bit easier to be able to pay it as aggressively as I did. Though at that time, that's when I started to build up a baby emergency fund. A baby emergency fund is not a full emergency fund. Right now, I would say $3,000 to $5,000 is a baby emergency fund. I'll talk about that a little bit later in another video. In December of 2021, I became a first-time homeowner. Reason for that is because my office moved to a different location that was much further from my parents' place, and I just couldn't take the chance of commuting, possibly 2 hours one way and 2 hours back. For one thing, I had a pulmonary embolism and deep vein thrombosis, blood clots in my lungs and in my legs. So, sitting for that long in a car or even public transportation just wasn't a safe option for me. So I said, well, let me see if I can afford to get a home. And fortunately, my credit at that time was very good. It's better now. But I was able to get a low interest rate. I used a portion of my 401k to be able to afford to make that down payment and necessary fixes, get appliances for this place. So that's that. And in January 2024 is when it was a huge milestone for me. I paid off half of my original consumer debt. So let's go ahead and take a look at the progress I made so far in the month of January. And the reason I'm giving this presentation today, well, for one thing, is that I only have 2 debts that I'm paying on. I'm paying on my personal loan and my student loan. Of course, I have my mortgage, but I keep that separate from trying to pay off this consumer debt. And yesterday, I made the last payment towards my personal loan, and I went ahead and updated the numbers. So I started off the year at $44,991.55 in consumer debt. This month, I paid off $1,156.91. And since this is the beginning of the year, that's how much I paid off year to date. In comparison to last year in January, so last year January I paid off $906.97. I'm ahead by $249.94, and that's really not my primary focus this year. I think it was last week I had talked about what my goal is for this year is to pay off this last personal loan, aggressively pay it off so that I can get from underneath this payment. But before I talk about that, my baby emergency fund, it is still fully funded. So if I have to use it for any emergencies, not huge emergencies, but at least enough to be able to cover one large emergency. So that's that. And I apologize, I'm looking at my notes. Want to make sure I stay on track, keep this video not too long. Okay, so about that loan, I did hit my target this month. I started off the year, my personal loan was $9,900. After my minimum payment of $428.97, the balance was $9,551.45. So in order for me to pay this loan off this year, I can't pay any less than $825 a month. That's the goal. If I do pay less than a month, which I don't anticipate doing it, then I'll pay more the next month or whatever. But the way I planned this out, it was actually not that much of a strain on my finances, but this is a stretch goal to be able to pay this off. So the target for this month was to get that loan down to $9,075. After that minimum payment, I was $476.45 away from my target. So what I did was I divided that into two and then budgeted with my paychecks this month. So the first amount that I budgeted was $238.22, and then the next amount I budgeted was $238.23. And then yesterday, I made that payment only towards the principal, which did bring my balance down to $90.75. So, like I said, this is doable for me. It was a stretch, but I had enough to be able to cover all the expenses. My mortgage, my HOA, my food costs, my medications, my doctor's appointments, fuel. It wasn't that difficult to be able to do this. So I could definitely see me paying off this loan this year. And if I continue at this pace, so last year I paid off a total of $12,540.42. I'm probably going to be on pace to do around the same, maybe a little bit more. But this is what's going to work for me. This is the plan that I'm going to stick to. So 1 month out of the way, I was able to hit that target. My next month, I'm going to focus on bringing that loan amount down to $82.50. Back to my presentation. So on the screen, I'm going to show you what my debt looked like as of June 2020. It was a combination of medical debt, credit card debt, debt on installment. Really was just a cell phone. I had loans, which is a combination of personal loans, 401k loans, and then I had student loans. And as you can see, my total debt was $115,041.89. My debt as of today is $9,000. That personal loan for $9,075, and then the student loan at $34,759.64. So once I pay off my personal loan this year, then I can focus on aggressively paying down the student loan. And that will be, my focus for next year. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to pay that student loan off in 1 year next year, but I will have a substantial amount that I can dump towards it, including, bonuses and maybe even doing a side hustle, grading papers and whatnot. The percentage breakdown of my debt is that my personal loan is 21% of that non-mortgage debt, and student loans make up the bulk of that, 79%. And I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to really stress this video out. I just wanted to kind of share the progress with you. And once again, everybody's journey is going to look different. For one thing, I have one income. I'm living with lupus. I have a lot of regular doctor's appointments, labs, medications. I make less than 6 figures, substantially less after taxes. And, you know, I'm a homeowner for one thing. So you may be in I imagine anybody watching this is in a vastly different situation than mine. Or if you're in a similar situation than mine, I just want to tell you that your journey is going to look different than somebody else's. Don't compare yourselves to somebody else's journey. You know, I saw where somebody paid off $300,000 worth of debt within 2 years, and that's great for them. But for me, I've been on this journey a lot longer than that. As a matter of fact, since paying off the $115,000, it's been 4 years and 7 months. So let me go ahead and run back, and then I'll wrap up this video. So my consumer debt as of June 2020 was $115,041.89. I paid off a total of $71,207.25. My consumer debt as of today is $43,834.64, which means I've paid off approximately 62% of that original debt. That is steady progress. And you know, I'm grateful to be on this journey, to have decided to tackle this debt and not just let it keep building, and not knowing how to budget, not knowing how to have control of my finances, carrying over credit card balances each month is what I was just accustomed to doing. And, you know, I forget exactly the most credit cards I had at one time. It might have been like 13 or 14 credit cards, and they all had balances on them. Now I have 5 credit cards, but when I use those credit cards, I pay them off each month, and I only use it for groceries, medications, gas, and that's it. And you know, I wish I had these type of practices in my 20s and 30s, but I didn't. I have it now, and I'm going to carry it going forward. And that's why I want to share this information, is that even if one person gets something from this, that's all that matters to me. Okay, so this is the last weekend in January. Next month is February. Here we go. If you made it this far, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, you know, when I post my videos. You can find me at youtube.com/@notinmybudget. As always, thank you for watching. Hope you all take care.